Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Hacking with SuperTokens. Last time we ran a bunch of experiments with web components, building some very interesting things using SolidJS, compiling that to web components, using it in a raw HTML and a React project, but today we'll be switching gears to something simpler, let's say. We will integrate SuperTokens inside a regular SolidJS project. Let's dig in. So, first off, the agenda for today, as always. Now, we have a simple agenda for today. It might take a little, it might be a bit shorter than our regular episode sizes, but it's fine. It's all about the fun and hacking with this thing. So, the big idea here is that we integrate Solid with SuperTokens using the email password strategy, and the next episode we'll try to do the same thing using the social login providers. And maybe we are going to make it look half decent at least. We'll see. I mean, me and my magical CSS skills, we'll see where that takes us. So either way, what we have here is a very basic Vite project using the SolidJS starter template. Now the only thing I've changed here is the server port. It's set to 3000 because our authentication server, and we'll be reusing the same authentication server as last episode, namely this thing over here, which allows us to basically use the SuperTokens SDK and the authentication core that's added as a demo. Already added some third-party providers, but we'll ignore that for now. It doesn't matter. The whole point is that this authentication server allows us to build the front end, and once we decide to go to production, we can either self-host this thing or sign up for an account, whatever, both work. So what we have over here, inside the index file, we have what you can expect from a vanilla Vite Solid project, but I added a router. I added Solid Router to it. So here it is, and we are defining two routes, very similar to what we already did in our web components experiments. So what we'll do and how we'll make this work, we will just port a bunch of the stuff that's found inside our web components experiments and port it over to our regular Solid project. What we currently have is like an auth component, and I'm not sure why I did it this way. I'll probably just do it like this for the sake of consistency. And okay, it's complaining, but I'm not sure why it's complaining. So boolean. Right, yeah. So now it's not complaining anymore. Now the idea here is we have two components, and one of them is the authentication screen, which is set at the root route, and the other one is the dashboard, which is at the dashboard route. Both of them are currently very simple. They just import some CSS, which comes pre-built with the Vite starter, and we return a div saying auth, and in dashboard we are returning a div saying dashboard. Exciting, I know. And if we look at the dashboard route, we see the dashboard text over there as expected, and if we go at the root route, we are getting the auth thing as well. So let's first start by porting over, let's say we have a config, we already have it ported over, so we don't need to do anything about that. If you want any more details about how we arrived at the auth server and at this config, have a look at the previous episodes where we describe that in a bit more detail. But now we want to do the following. We want to do a one-to-one copy of what we have in components email password, and we want to port that to auth. So we're just gonna split the screen over here and copy paste the stuff that makes sense to be copy pasted. So let's start with the markup first. So yeah, we certainly need to init SuperTokens, and we are going to import that over here, and we certainly need these two signals, of course, because we need a way to input the username and the password. We want to import these two, and let's handle the auth stuff later. and the redirection stuff later. We don't care about this because this had to do with registering the elements, and what we need to actually port over are these two inputs and these two buttons. And the handlers over here, we can just stop them for now. Handle sign in, handle sign up clicked. Let's do that. We can comment these two out for the time being. And I believe we should see an authentication screen, and we are seeing. Perfect. Okay, so currently it's a bit, well, fugly, and we can probably rectify that by copying some styles. We already have some styles defined over here. We'll copy paste them over to app CSS, which is a bit light, but it doesn't really matter. Let's see what else we need to port in terms of styles. We have a form wrap, we had the shell component, but I don't think we care about that one. We can probably just do a form wrap over here, and it should take us a long way to looking decent. Okay, it started looking decent. And let's see, app CSS, we have flex direction of column. Is it the wrapper? Oh no, it's a form wrap. We need to put it inside another div. That's probably going to be the fastest to make this look decent. So let's see, wrapper. And we are going to put this over here. That should really make things look better. Somewhat. Well, okay, we can just limit the size of form wrap. Instead of making it full size, let's do something like max width. What should be? Yeah, let's go with 320 pixels. And yes, it looks better. It's not centered, but it looks better. So let's see. Let's go back to wrapper. We don't have line item center, and we want to justify content to center as well. And now we have a halfway decent looking authentication form. Okay, that's it for the visual part, I guess. Now let's pick the logic up. Now I imagine these methods will likely end up looking the same, because that's essentially all we need from them. We need an email, we need a password to sign up, add SuperTokens, and the navigate function is sort of like what will inject over from SolidRouter in order to be able to navigate around client side. So sure, let's do that. Let's first do sign up clicked. We'll just port over this function over here. I know ideally this should live somewhere in a separate file, but like we're building a demo, so who cares? And we'll need to update the imports, and we first need to do this. Let's import this entire thing over here. Okay, and I suppose that's it for that one. Then we want to port check email for when we want to check whether an email exists or not, and then we want to port over signing clicked. So let's do that too. And at this point we already have all of the functionality we theoretically need, and we need to just take care of navigate. So let's see how we can inject navigate over from SolidRouter. Let's see, configuring routes, components, use navigate. All right, so const navigate equals use navigate. Okay, so the API is fairly similar to what one might expect from React router. So let's, oh sorry, I need to import that thing first. Basically import use navigate from solid router. Import use navigate from solid app router, or only it's not called solid app router, it's called, what was it? Alright, I'm doing this in the wrong place. Never mind. So yeah, we were supposed to be working this file, so I was doing stuff in the wrong file. And we are going to ditch this one because we don't need it right now. And in index it was, yes, this is what we're after, from SolidJS router. SolidJS router. Yes, we do have a use navigate. So in order to pass it down, we won't need the props any longer, I think. So let's see, we have auth and we have const navigate equals use navigate. And we can pass down this navigate instead of props.navigate because we're not passing it from above. And that should already take care of it. Now let's see what the signature looks like for that. It's like a navigator, okay? Now let's see, we have use navigate. So we treat methods to do navigation. The method accepts a path to navigate to and an optional object with the following: resolve the path against the current route. Yes. Replace the history entry. No, we don't want to replace it. Scroll state. I mean, I guess we can just roll with the defaults. So let's go with that. We do have those two routes defined, so I suppose this is all we currently need, and we can move along to porting dashboard. So let's open the other dashboard from where we're copy pasting, and let's put it through the same treatment. Of course, we want to init SuperTokens as a first step. We want to import that, of course, because we're missing it currently. Then if we want to get the session info thing, or rather, let's copy this entire thing over here, and we can just delete things that we don't need. Let's do it in reverse, like create signal. Yes, we need to import that. Get session info we still need. Sign up we need it, but we'll replace it. We need access to the session. Shell we don't need, so we'll do this because we need it imported. And okay, then let's do the markup. You know what, let's copy stuff over from auth, because the structure there of the markup at least should take us halfway there. So we need like this, and we don't need the inputs, we just need two buttons. One of them will be in charge of sign out, and the other one will be in charge of session info, or rather get session info, and we'll call that button session info. All right, we don't need this because that's for web components. We don't need, or rather, yes, we need this one. But first we also need to import create effect because we're missing that one. Navigate will define via solid router. Do we even need this thing with the loading? Let's see, I don't think we do. Oh no, I'm looking at auth. Yeah, okay. We need this thing, I guess. Like we have a show switch. Right. We need the show switch before we are able to initialize the session. so that we at least show something on screen for the users before the session gets initialized. And we find out whether we can do that for them or not. Yes, and this should be enough. And the final thing we need here would be the navigate thing, which we'll again use from the solid router. And I think that in theory should be it, and we should have a working navigation thing. Let's find out whether that's actually true or not. I'll just use the same credentials I already have built from last time, and let's see whether this thing works or not. Okay, so first try, go me. Let's try signing up at example.com, password, or like password -1, because that's secure. No, it has numbers in it. And to sign in. Okay, so the errors work. Okay, yay, security, we have that on screen. We have session info, perfect, this works. So let's recap. What we have here is the following. We have a very, very basic Vite project that's also using SuperTokens for building authentication demo. We're using Solid Router to define some routes. We have a dashboard route, we have an auth route, and both auth and dashboard are just, components, solid components. The auth component is almost an exact copy of what we have, or rather what we did last time with web components, but with the web component part removed out of the equation, just focused on doing solid stuff. We have an input for email, we have an input for password, we have some handlers for signing in, and we're using navigate from Solid Router. The dashboard is pretty similar in that it can show us our session info via call to the backend. We have to the auth server, to be precise, and it's also handling sign out. So it was pretty simple. Thank you for joining, and make sure to press the like and subscribe buttons to make sure not to miss the next episode when we'll be building some social authentication using the same project. Catch you next time.